What's up, everybody? So we're back for the new season of Florida's Fittest
podcast.
It's been a minute.
Don't synchronize that one.
We had to take a hiatus, and we kind of had to reconfigure things because it was just a spicy 2021, and it was getting,
It's getting redundant.
Yeah, it was getting really redundant, and we kind of just needed to kind of step back and kind of reconsider the information that we wanted to put out there. So here we are.
Yeah. So
how did it get?
Yeah.
Just, basically, this is just more of an education piece for people who are not familiar with the fitness realm or trying to get into fitness, or people who just need a refresher on, just be reminded of the basics, because there's so much information out there that is, it's
available,
but it's also confusing. It's contradicting.
It's super overwhelming.
So, and you just got to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's all up to the individual to figure it out, but we just kind of want to lay like the groundwork for them. That way they don't have to go off of scratch.
So what are we going to talk about today, Mark 1?
Just basic grocery shopping for general health. It's not complicated. It really isn't. You have
for your dietary
for your dietary needs. You need carbs, fats, protein, micronutrients. That's basically your 4 pillars right there.
So I guess let's see. Point 1, keep it simple.
Point 1, keep it simple.
Okay. And then understand the basics.
Understand the basics. I mean, when you go to a grocery store, if you go to Publix, there's just, in my Publix at least, you take a right and immediately you go to the bakery aisle. Fuck that. Don't do that. Go past the bakery aisle, go past the deli, where all the pre-made food is. I mean, sometimes they have the grilled chicken in there.
That's true.
Oh, I love the grilled chicken.
The rotisserie chicken?
Yeah.
I love that.
Rotisserie chicken, but they have like the grilled chicken cutlets.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can crush some rotisserie chicken by myself.
Yeah. So I feel like that's okay. But then you have the produce area where they have the things that are in season. I always get like in the fall. I love the Honeycrisp apples and the butternut squash, and I get those two. Chop that up, put in the oven, boom, instant. That's my carbs for the rest of the week.
So that's like the old school sort of like, that's not old school. I heard like, who was it? Like LL Cool J said something like this. It's like, stay out of the middle aisles.
Yeah.
Just focus on the stuff that's on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right after the produce area, it's the deli, or not the deli, the butcher basically, and they have all the meats and like fish and all that stuff. So I've been really into like grass-fed and like free-range meats and stuff like that. So, and then I try to get game meat, all the fresh fish, and I always try to buy things in season. And I've really gotten, in the last couple of years, I've really gotten into like free-range and grass-fed meats and stuff like that. So
And
if you
Mark's
can
hands
get
on the
from
meat.
farm to kitchen, that's the best thing I think.
Okay.
And same thing with like the eggs. Like I buy the bougie, $6 per 18 eggs.
You don't need to do that. You can go to Detweiler's and get a carton of 30 for, right now it's $6.
But are they like
They're catering.
free-range?
Yeah, they're catering.
Look. All right. So if you get an egg made from a chicken that eats grains, you fucked up already, because chickens eat worms, and that's what they're supposed to eat. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Those wormy eggs though.
Yeah.
So we got keep it simple.
Well, yeah.
Shop in the periphery of the grocery store. What else? What's the last one? Keep it as minimal human interaction as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, say this is not in your budget, or you're on a budget, and you can't afford like the $6 a carton eggs.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Any eggs, in reality, any eggs will do, right? So you buy that set of 30 for $6 instead.
Yeah.
And that would be perfect. 'Cause actually, eggs are probably the healthiest thing you can eat, because of their amino breakdown profile and everything like that. So, but for instance, like when I was in college, or when I was broke and I had no fucking money, the things we used to do, I mean, we get the frozen vegetables, which had the same nutrient breakdowns as fresh vegetables, and they lasted longer. The $6 30 carton count of eggs. The Walmart $20 for a big old thing of chicken, and we used to barbecue that stuff and like grill it, and then we'd get like a pound or 2 pounds of rice, and that was our
That was your meal.
that was
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And
When was that?
this was in college, and like when I was like broke, living on my own and stuff.
And weren't you an elite swimmer?
Yeah. So like this stuff works.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to be Dan said earlier, like you have to have a diet and you have to stick
Yeah.
to it and get all the nutrients that you can.
Right.
This stuff, the diet, you use air quotes for that, is the the building blocks. Like after that comes supplements, and like you don't need supplements to be an elite athlete or need supplements to be healthy. That's just something that you add if you're missing
Yep.
something. So
That's why it's called supplement.
That's
Yeah.
why it's called supplement. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem.
idea.
Yeah.
That's a problem with a lot of this is that it is very complicated information for a lot of people when you're starting out. And honestly, be honest with yourself at first. If you're using the excuse of I can't access Whole Foods or whatever your fancy health food store is in your city, then that's just an excuse, because you can still go to Walmart, like Mark said, and grab a big 20 pack of chicken, got the frozen vegetables.
I mean, people have the Piggly Wiggly and all that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter which supermarket you go to.
You can go to the
Supermarket
Winn-Dixie, yeah.
where you can actually afford to go shopping there.
What's
And
the supermarket in New York? Pathmark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So just whatever. It's all. And the biggest thing to me, for nutrition, was because it's figuring out what my body took. Because some people, like, obviously the older I got, I think I'm more lactose tolerant. In a sense,
yep.
I don't drink whole milk as much, but I will have whey protein, so it doesn't bother me as much. But I still get that same almost
Irritability.
Irritability in your stomach,
Yep. It's all learn who you are, learn your diet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Basically,
and like as you get older, you develop more bodily data. So like
Yep.
it carries over into like training as well, which we'll get into later. But like with diet, like I know exactly what works for me and what doesn't. Like dairy products like milk, cheese, they don't work for me. Eggs are fine. I mean, but everything like whey protein doesn't bother me either. But it's just something about dairy products that mess with me. Like even like I get full off of like steaks. Like I love steak. Like I love good steak. But I know for me, a steak fills me up too fast, and then I don't want to eat the rest of the day. So it's a weird breakdown for
Cowards.
me. Yeah, well,
I'll crush like
you
2
know,
steaks and
yeah.
you're like, that's it.
But hamburger meat doesn't bother me, or like bison doesn't bother me. So
Okay.
it's just a weird like breakdown, at least for in my point of view.
And I think the other point to that to riff on is like it is individual. So I guess if you were to wrap it all up, it's like you got to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So understand your calorie and then your proteins, fats, and carbs. Next, you want to make sure that you shop in the edges of the store. So if you go to the grocery store, wherever you go to the produce section, go to the butchers, and kind of stay away from the middle aisles because that's where all your processed stuff is. And then the last point, I think the main point you said was to try and shop so that it's with the least amount of human interaction, so that your food is as natural as possible. And then to go off of that, off of those main 3 points, is if you can't afford to buy like health food stuff, I think people make it too much of an excuse to not be able to do that. You can go to your corner bodega and get whatever produce that they have available. You can go to whatever your small supermarket is in your particular area. I don't think people talk about this enough. People think that you got to buy healthy you got to go to a health food store to get healthy food. You don't have to do that.
That's like in air quotes too, like the healthy foods in the health food store. Like it's
because that's purely dependent on whatever your particular needs is. And I think we all kind of broke down a little bit of like what irritates like our particular bodies. I think that's also something you'll discover over time. Like for me, unfortunately, for whatever reason, coffee, caffeine, alcohol, even a little bit of chocolate, spices seem to like inflame my skin. So I think this is something you either discover in time or you realize right out the gate because maybe you just got like bad genes coming out.
basically Mark II is like totally screwed for it.
I'm not though. Like, I mean, it's more of a
no fun.
It's more of a responsibility. It's like drinking. The way that I look at it now is like I can have a little bit of coffee with a little bit of chocolate and have a drink, but I understand that that's probably going to kick my ass for the next 3 days.
Consequences behind that is basically what you're saying.
And that's part of the responsibility of taking control of your diet is paying attention to those little details. We got anything else we want to riff on? We'll probably have some more down the road.
Yeah, definitely down the road. But that's really what I wanted to talk about when it comes to diet and fitness.
Sweet, cool. So thank you for joining us on our return episode of the Florida's Fittest. If you like this video, by all means, give it a thumbs up. Go ahead, and if you have any questions or if you have any ideas that you want to share with us, go ahead and put it in the comments section. Obviously,
or shoot us a DM, like either one works.
Yeah, obviously subscribe if you want to keep following up on more of these videos, because we want to focus on more things that are going to be actionable as opposed to like what's current events, because that's kind of what we did in the past. We want to actually give you stuff that's going to play into giving us a better legacy, and part of that legacy is educating people like yourself. So that's what we want to try and do. Like always, I'm Mark 2.
Mark 1.
Seafood Dan.
Seafood Dan.
I'm Dan.
Daniel's son.
This is Florida's Fittest, and we'll see you guys next time.